Some recent actions by President Trump appear to be nudging us towards important changes in the world financial landscape. Imagine you want to send money from the United States to a friend in Mexico quickly and cheaply. Right now, when banks send money across countries, like converting dollars to Mexican pesos, it's slow and expensive. The money often has to go through several middle banks, wait a day or two, and lose some value to high fees. It's like mailing a package that has to stop at multiple post offices and pay a fee at each one. Banks and other corporations have their known exorbitant interest rates, but they also nickel and dime us in numerous ways when they move around our money. I've never been big on crypto. I have never felt that it was secure, and history has proved that to be the case. But with the promise of quantum blockchain via entanglement, I'm becoming more comfortable with it. Plus, it looks like it's inevitable, guys, and if we remain rigid, we wither and die. So don't fall for every scam along the pike, but do your homework, because we're going to be using crypto at some point and we should know about it. XRP is a digital asset and cryptocurrency that was created by Ripple Labs, which works like a super-fast middleman or bridge that makes money transfer much easier. In fact, XRP was designed primarily to facilitate fast, low-cost international money transfers and payments. Unlike Bitcoin, which is often seen as an investment vehicle like gold or silver, XRP functions more like a bridge currency in the global financial system. XRP runs on something called the XRP Ledger, or XRPL, which is basically a public shared computer network that anyone can use. It's an open-source, decentralized blockchain, and no single company or government controls it. This network is really fast and cheap. It can send money from one country to another in just 3 to 5 seconds, handle thousands of payments at the same time, and costs way less than the old-fashioned bank systems. Here's how it works. Ripple works with real banks, money transfer companies, and other big financial organizations around the world. With its focus on efficiency and regulatory compliance, XRP appears to be a tool for decentralizing, streamlining, and lowering the profit in the financial matrix. It will facilitate global trade and enable seamless value exchange across borders. Guys, if you don't see big things happening in our financial system, then you are sleeping. The financial matrix that has controlled us is being dismantled, and bit by bit, EO by EO, a new system is being built to prevent the control of the entire world financial system by a few. So let's take a look at the promises of NESARA and GESARA, which envision a profound overhaul of the world's economic systems aimed at fostering widespread prosperity. At the heart, they propose a shift away from debt-based economies toward ones that are rooted in fairness, abundance, and sustainability. They promise to be a global reset where outdated financial structures are gently replaced with innovative, equitable alternatives. This includes potential initiatives such as comprehensive debt forgiveness, where personal, corporate, and even national debts could be alleviated to free individuals and nations from predatory obligations. Just like medbeds, this allows people a fresh start with renewed economic vitality. Another key component is the redistribution of wealth through prosperity programs that draw from vast underutilized resources or hidden trusts to provide direct support to the people of the world. This redistribution could occur in the form of stipends, grants, or investment accounts that grow over time, and we've already seen the Trump investment account starting in 2026. Currency reforms are central too, with suggestions of moving toward asset-backed money, which is tied to gold, silver, or other tangible values. This will stabilize economies and curb inflation, making everyday transactions more reliable and fair. You say that you don't see anything happening? Have you seen the spot prices of gold and silver going up? Who do you think is the biggest group of people buying up these assets? If you said banks, you'd be right. Reports indicate that central banks alone are buying from 25% to 30% of the newly mined gold. They see what's coming, and so should you. So, let's take a moment to really dig into these potential benefits, because things are definitely shifting, and it's actually pretty inspiring to think about how these kinds of transformations might uplift humanity on a global scale. Debt forgiveness, for example, could go way beyond just individual loans. It might even include things like student debt, mortgages, and credit card balances. That would seriously ease the financial pressure that's holding millions of people back from things like pursuing an education, buying a home, or starting a business. Just imagine families who aren't weighed down by debt, which has been a means of survival for many since COVID. Instead, we will be free to invest in our futures, maybe launching businesses, funding community projects, or just enjoying a better quality of life. On a national level, sovereign debt relief could give developing countries the freedom to redirect money toward things like infrastructure, healthcare, and education. President Trump has already dropped the term of sovereign wealth funds. States would be encouraged to invest some funds for a return on money instead of recklessly approving billions of dollars for NGOs that are stealing it. Every dime your state makes through investment or payments is a dime that you won't be taxed for. This could really help people become more self-sufficient and less dependent on expensive and often exploitative loans. There's been lots of discussion and proposals about capping interest rates for both credit card and mortgage debt. You know the banks aren't happy about that, and though it hasn't passed yet, remember that everything is being doled out to us like breadcrumbs to follow so that we can understand it all. When it comes to wealth redistribution, the benefits could look like universal prosperity accounts, which might be set up at birth or early in life. That's exactly what the Trump account is. These accounts will grow through contributions and investments, eventually providing a fund for college, a house, or even retirement, if they just leave the money sit. The idea here is to level the playing field so that every child, no matter where they come from, has a solid foundation for success, and they start July 2026. I'll link a video about them in the description. These accounts will promote social change and help reduce inequality. Tax reforms in these proposals often highlight things like forgiveness or simplifying the system. So, for instance, phasing out complicated income taxes in favor of something more straightforward, like consumption-based taxes on luxury goods. There are many such ideas being thrown around in government, guys. Again, you say you see nothing happening? The One Big Beautiful Bill eliminated taxes on both tips and overtime. So we're definitely seeing positive change that screams of more to come. This will leave more money in people's pockets for essentials and savings, and maybe even encourage innovation and spending, which would help stimulate the economy without punishing people for working hard. And then there's the shift to asset-backed currencies, which could bring a lot more stability to those sometimes unpredictable markets. That would help protect people's savings from losing value and make international trade more predictable, which is good news for both exporters and importers. Environmental and social benefits are part of the conversation too. Some claims suggest there'd be incentives for sustainable practices, like funding green technologies or rewarding ethical business models. That could help align economic growth with the health of our planet. On an even bigger scale, these changes might promote global peace by reducing the economic tensions that often lead to conflict. If nations are working together for shared prosperity instead of fighting over limited resources, that's a win for everyone. Now, connecting these ideas to what's happening lately, we can see how parts of this vision are starting to unfold in a pretty gentle and smooth transition. Each new policy seems to be moving us a bit closer to a more prosperous world for everyone. Take the recent developments in the cryptocurrency space, especially with XRP and other digital assets. Regulatory bodies like the United States Federal Reserve have actually eased up on some of their previous restrictions. They've rescinded policies that used to limit banks' involvement with crypto, and now they're welcoming responsible innovation, integrating digital assets into standard supervision. It's a big shift, and it really signals a new era for crypto, so I wouldn't be so quick to condemn it yet. This change is opening the door for banks to actually have to hold and use assets like XRP to conduct their business. Imagine that. A bank actually having to use their own money instead of yours. Who better to convince the banks that they need to get on board than Trump, who's worked with all of them his whole life? So now, banks are moving quickly to comply with XRP Ledger. These developments really do line up with the NESARA and GESARA foundations of modernizing finance and creating prosperity for countries and their people. Ultimately, this could help redistribute economic power away from centralized elites and into the hands of everyday people. Similarly, upgrades in S&P credit ratings for developing countries signal steps toward balancing economic equality. For example, Zambia's rating was raised to CCC+ as a result of debt restructuring and growth copper production. This indicates a growing economy and will stimulate investor confidence. Kuwait saw an upgrade to AA-, also indicating strong financial wealth in emerging economies. Such changes, seen across places like India and Bermuda in 2025, are all contributing to global prosperity via development that uplifts communities. This gentle progress mirrors the debt relief and equity claims in NESARA and GESARA, allowing these nations to invest in their people rather than servicing endless interest. The banks are definitely getting their wings clipped so somebody besides them can make money, and this more balanced global economy is emerging where prosperity flows to all corners of the world. On tax forgiveness, recent administration policies are emphasizing relief and fresh starts. Programs like the IRS Fresh Start Initiative continue to help taxpayers settle debts for less than owed, reducing penalties and offering installment plans. The Mortgage Debt Tax Forgiveness Act of 2025 extends protections against taxes on forgiven home loan debt, aiding homeowners in distress. Broader reforms under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed in mid-2025, include working families' tax cuts that simplify burdens and provide relief, aligning with the vision of lighter tax loads to empower individuals. These measures are materializing in various ways that all lead to a smoother path where financial forgiveness becomes a plan for widespread opportunity. A standout policy supporting prosperity from infancy is the introduction of Trump accounts, tax-advantaged savings vehicles established for American children under 18, with a $1,000 government seed for those born between 2025 and 2028. These accounts grow tax-deferred, usable for education, housing, or other milestones after age 18, and have attracted private donations, like $250 additions for younger kids from foundations, amplifying their impact. This initiative echoes NESARA and GESARA's prosperity funds, planting seeds of wealth early to ensure every generation starts with resources, promoting long-term security and equality. Other supportive policies include expanded child savings programs globally, incentives for sustainable investments, and international debt relief efforts that redirect funds to social programs. NESARA GESARA is unfolding not dramatically, but through incremental, thoughtful steps via new regulations and partnerships that are building toward a future where prosperity is shared across humanity, from bustling cities to remote villages in a harmonious global transition. But there's one thing to remember. We're being given a fresh start in every way, but it's up to us to never give away our freedom again. Will you pay more attention and become more active in defending that freedom next time? I can tell you guys, I know that I will be more alert and involved with what our leaders are doing. It's really important for people to understand because no matter how much light falls on us, there's always that eternal seed of darkness.